Hello everyone, my name is Fatima and welcome back to the Race Edit, and if you're new here, welcome to the Race Edit and welcome to a new video. So, Toto Wolff has Toto Wolff has said that putting Kimi Antonelli in that Mercedes come 2025 is going to make any mistakes that he makes more visible than the mistakes that George Russell made when he was in that Williams when he debuted in 2019. And when I was reading this article, it made me think, is there too much pressure on Kimi Antonelli? Now, as we know, ever since Lewis Hamilton announced that he would be leaving Mercedes and going to Ferrari come 2025, there has been a name that would not leave a Mr. Certain Toto Wolff's mouth for goodness knows how long. I mean, I don't think anyone else brought up this guy's name except for Toto Wolff, and then from that, the story unfolds. But Kimi Antonelli, the 18-year-old chosen one, the one that is going to make Toto Wolff's dreams come true, the one that he is not going to let go. He is the next best thing. Fingers crossed, because that boy, he has a lot of pressure on him. That is for sure. This is a risk, I would say, that Toto Wolff is taking, bringing on a rookie, an 18-year-old, into that Mercedes seat instead of doing what they've done for someone like George Russell, put him in that Williams, and then bring him into the Mercedes seat come 2026. I have a lot of questions about this, but hey, while we know that there is a lot of potential for Kimi Antonelli, I mean, with the backing of Toto Wolff, let's be honest, he bypassed F3, jumped straight into F2. The minimum age requirement for a Formula One driver has been reduced back to 17 now, even though that still didn't make any sense because he was going to turn 18 by 2025 anyway. But hey, where my questioning for this pressure lies is when I was listening to a podcast. Now, this is not the end all be all. I was listening to the Red Flags podcast with Gunther Steiner, their Banca Hours episode, and they were talking about Antonelli and how much time he has to prove himself. Gunther Steiner made a point where he said that honestly, Antonelli probably has 2 years to prove that he is what Toto Wolff believes he could be. And that really piqued something in me because I'm just like, we have all this chatter over this kid, all this buildup over this kid. He's the chosen one, and yet he really only has 2 years to grow before the pressure really starts pounding on him. I think that's a lot. Now, I'm not taking Gunter's word as gospel because he's not Toto Wolff, he's not a Mercedes, he doesn't really know exactly what's going on behind the scenes there, but it brings up a good point. Like, we know he's fast and we know he's capable. We saw what he did in FP1 before he crashed. Would it not make sense to have him in that Williams seat for 1 year and then bring him in for 2026 to let him gain that experience? I mean, while there will be rookies in, such as Behrman and Doohan, I think the pressure that is under Kimi Antonelli's name is a lot. Any mistakes he makes will be heavily criticized, and we know how that can affect a driver. And now when Max Verstappen debuted, yeah, he made mistakes. He did still debut in a Toro Rosso. George Russell made mistakes, debuted in a Williams. Charles Leclerc made mistakes, debuted in an Alfa Romeo. You see what I'm saying here? Putting him in a big boy seat is actually diabolical when I think about it because he's already bypassed F3, got straight into F2. He's 6th in the standings for F2, which really doesn't mean anything anymore. And I'm not going to lie, a lot of this, I have to say, kind of falls on Toto Wolff. If Kimi Antonelli comes in and he's a total bust his first year, and there's critics everywhere, he's the one who jumped the gun. You can say, well, Kimi, like, he's in Formula One now, this and that, but do we know if he's actually ready to be in Formula One? Do we? Sure, he's fast. He could be a prodigy. He could be the next best thing. I mean, he's taking over a seat that has been with a person for 12 years. And heavy is the head that wears the crown. And that crown, it's a heavy one to be taken over. And that's already pressure enough. You're coming in as a rookie into Formula One. You want to prove your name. You're taking over Lewis Hamilton's seat, which is insane, and the media is all over you because your boss, your team principal, has also been yapping nonstop about how great you are. You have to be great. There's no other avenue you can be but great. You have to be. So if Kimi Antonelli comes on and he's a bust, that, gosh, I really don't want that to be. I don't think that will be. He'll make mistakes, sure, but a lot of that, honestly, I have to say, is on Toto Wolff. He should have been very demure about it. I'm not gonna lie. You can be like, yeah, we have a junior driver. He's great. He could be the next best thing, and we're gonna sign him on to take over Lewis Hamilton's seat for the next however many years they have him on. But hey, what can you do? I think what's really interesting about this article and what Toto Wolff said was when he compared how they got Kimi versus how they got George, and I was like, did you need to say that, Toto? So he said, We as Mercedes wouldn't have found Kimi. He was 11 years old. We saw the results on track and obviously working with the car teams. It's amazing to see, as with George, who actually found us, put his best suit on and went to see me in my office with a PowerPoint presentation. We all know the story. But starting laying out the foundations as to how I think the team relationships are going to work between these two. As I've been saying in many of my videos, George has a 1+1 contract with Mercedes as well as Lewis Hamilton. And if there was ever an opportunity for Toto to sign Max Verstappen come 2026, Kimi's not the one who's going to go. It's going to be George, unless Kimi completely just obliterates everything, which I don't foresee that happening. It's already showing they've invested. I mean, they've invested in George too, but they've really invested in Kimi. They scouted him, they nurtured him, and he is their chosen one. He's the one who's going to be their next best thing. I don't want to say their next Lewis Hamilton because that's not fair on Kimi. But if he comes in and there's a debacle like the Alex Albon Red Bull and the Pierre Gasly Red Bull drama where he's just not suiting up, there's going to be a problem. Because why didn't you just put him in that Williams car for a year? Why don't you just let him test it, feel it? Obviously, Williams does not want to be that team. Williams is an independent team of its own. They are. And it's not fair on Williams to have a driver go in who can be the next best thing just to leave to go to Mercedes. Because Mercedes is still their rival at the end of the day. But Toto feels that they put George in that Williams seat for too long. So therefore, they're putting Kimi in that Mercedes seat. Why can't we just have a middle ground? You know? Why can't we just have a middle ground? It doesn't have to be one or the other, in my opinion. You can just have a middle ground and go from there. But I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with Kimi Antonelli when he comes to Formula One in 2025. I'm really curious to see how he's going to compare to the other rookies as well. And I still have an inkling that Liam Lawson's going to be in that RBC come 2025 as well. I don't know. Is Daniel Ricciardo signed for that second seat yet? I don't think so, unless I'm missing something. Yeah. Daniel Ricciardo doesn't have a seat yet currently. I still believe that Daniel Ricciardo is going to be in that Red Bull seat come 2025, but now that Red Bull is in the position that they're in and we don't know what's going on with the car, who knows? Who knows? For Daniel Ricciardo, it just keeps feeling like when it comes to Red Bull, it's wrong person, wrong time. I know, crazy to say, because he left before that rocket ship and now he's coming back when their car potentially is coming back when their car is again nowhere. So it kind of sucks for Danny Rick, but hey, what can you do, right? Maybe a championship is just not meant for him, which sucks. But this is not even about Daniel Ricciardo. I don't even know how I got here. But anyway, long story short, is there too much pressure on Kimi Antonelli? Yes. Is it from the media? Not really. I honestly think a lot of the pressure is coming from Toto Wolff. What made me talk about this, it was that Gunther Steiner thing when he said that he probably has 2 years to actually prove himself, which again, I'm not taking it as gospel, but it's not looking good, bro. 2 years is a short amount of time. I don't think he's going to disappoint. I don't. But I do think that it's going to be an adjustment in that first year. It's going to be an adjustment. Obviously, this is a long-term investment for Mercedes. But do they have time to make that kind of a long-term investment when they want to be a top team still? Like, can you afford a kid to keep crashing the car? I guess if you have George, if they're going to keep him, you have someone who could potentially win titles. I don't know. I don't see it happening. I'm not going to lie. I don't. Win races maybe, but things are moving up. Then again, he could come in and it could be an Oscar Piastri. He could, right? Just, I would hate to see it turn out not so well for him, really. Wolff said, while he feels in hindsight that Russell's tenure at Williams should have been shorter, he also recognized that the Britain's time there allowed him to make errors in a less visible way, something that will be different for Antonelli. I know he's the chosen one. He's the prodigy for Toto Wolff, but I am also just like, why would you do that to a kid? I'm sorry. Why would you do that to a kid? I really want to see Antonelli just come in and take charge. I do. I don't even know. I feel like I have nothing more to say. I'm just talking to the camera because this is something that was on my mind and I was like, why not make a video about it? I want to see what you guys think about it because maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm reading this all wrong. And if you guys have any thoughts on it, please let me know down below. It's an interesting topic. It is. It's a conversation that we're going to be having for a while now, up until his first year is over, let's be honest. But yeah, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for sitting here and watching this. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.